Hi, thanks for watching. Now, although there are many different ways to generate new customer leads for your business, consumer habits have shifted over the last couple of years because of the pandemic, and I wanted to show you how you can leverage local internet search volume to bring all these new leads in through your website for free. Well, basically at whatever it costs to keep your site live. Now, all these leads will be coming exclusively to you, unlike third-party sites like Angie's and Home Advisor. And just so you can see that there's value in it, I'm going to show you the amount of traffic and leads coming to your top competitors, so that way you'll know what to expect. So for comparison, I've just taken your website as well as done a quick search for pest control Plymouth, and I take the top two ranking websites here as well, and I put them all into this tool that I use, and it shows me all the information that Google finds that it uses to determine your position in search results. So you can see just quickly based on some of these numbers why these sites are outranking yours at the top of the list, but let me just briefly touch on what these numbers mean. So as we go through your site, you can see what changes need to be made and how they'll affect its rank. So when Google is determining how to rank your website, it uses two factors. The first is what's called the authority or trust that it has in your site. Now this basically boils down to a popularity contest because this authority is gained when other domains or websites refer back to yours and then they create a link called a backlink. And this acts as an endorsement that Google uses to build trust because others are vouching for you. So to give you a quick example, if say the local news station did an article on their website and it said the top 10 best pest control companies in the Massachusetts area. And in that article, the reader could click on a link and it will bring them to your website. That would be considered one backlink from one referring domain. Now, these backlinks can come from a lot of different sources, blogs, editorials, guest posts. One strong and very important type is what's called a citation. Now, that's where your name, address, and phone number are listed in an online directory. Those include Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau. These directories are usually always free. It just takes some time to find them, register your business, and then input the information exactly that's shown in Google. So as you can see, based on the number of links that have been created from other websites to these competitors, why Google is placing more trust and authority in them and therefore ranking them at the top of the list. But then as we look at here, you can see that this company actually has less links than you do, and yet they're still number 2 in the list. So this also goes towards one factor, which is quality over quantity. So we need to make sure that the link partners that we are finding are relative to your service industry as well as your area, definitely inside the United States, and making sure that they're highly authoritative and trustworthy sites to begin with so they can transfer that trust back through the link to you. Now, the other factor for ranking your website is the content on your page. So you can see here the amount of keywords that this company is being found for is about 5 times as much as you have, which can also be a ranking factor on why that they're showing up high ahead of yours, even though they have less quote unquote authority through those backlinks. So these are all the keywords and phrases that are being typed into Google search that are being found or associated with your website. And then it shows me the volume, the number of times per month they're being searched. So this is what we do is do a little bit of market research to make sure we have all the highest volume keywords relative to the services that you offer in the areas you want to offer them in, and making sure that those are being included on your site. So how it would work is, say pest control Plymouth, Mass. If you're right now you're dropping down, you're on the 13th listing, so that's going to put you on the second page. Unfortunately, nobody's finding you down there. They're not really going much past the middle of the first page. However, if your site was ranked, 100 people a month will be searching and seeing your website. Now, Google Analytics estimates that of the total search volume, on average, 10% will convert into a lead. So you'd be looking at 10 new leads per month, either calling you directly or filling out the form submission on your website. Now, obviously, you might not close every single one of those, and the scope, size, and profit margin of each job is going to vary, but you can see how the sheer volume of leads coming in every month can definitely add up to some revenue at the end of that month and at the end of the year. And that's just for one keyword phrase. So then we repeat that same process for all the high volume keyword phrases, making sure that you're listed and ranked for those so we are getting all that traffic. However, there is a formula that Google uses to find these keywords on your site. So if we take a look here, as far as the layout is concerned, Google doesn't care. I mean, I think this is great. This little hamburger menu has all the information that people could want. We are mobile optimized, which is great because the majority of people are on their mobile device nowadays. But being a computer, Google is just going to come in and it's going to count all the words and text on your page. Now, we generally recommend to have about 1,000 to 1,500 words on a home page, only because the more information you have on the page, the more Google views you as an expert, and then the more likely it is to recommend you. Kind of like the difference between a book and then a series of encyclopedias. Now, while it's counting all the words, it's also searching for those keywords. So any of the services that you offer and in the areas you want to be found in. However, this is where the number of words on the page really comes into play because you're only allowed to have one keyword for every 100 to 150 words of text on the page. So that means the more keywords that you want to be found for and the more searches you want to come up, meaning the little bit more content that needs to be added to the page. And then to even go one step further, all of Google's recent updates have put an emphasis on high quality content. So they're actually reading the content on your page. So in order to qualify for one of these specific keywords, the 100 to 150 words of text has to be specifically describing that keyword in detail. That way Google can understand it and pick it up and put you in those search results. So this is where, though we have a lot of menus where people can click over to different pages, they're a very generic keyword. So home pest control, that can be searched anywhere in the United States as opposed to, pest control Mass or pest control Massachusetts. And then there's just not enough content to back it up. So I would say at this point, adding a little bit of content to each one of these and then maybe rewording them so we're having this little bit more what I call a buyer intent keyword, meaning if somebody's searching for ant control in a specific city or town, that's where they're definitely looking for a service done. Another way to attract that type of volume is to make what we call a location back page. So if we don't have any here that I see, no. So what we would actually can recommend doing is you can make an entire page of your website dedicated to a specific location and then put all the keywords for that location on that specific page, and then it'll make it easier to rank in those local search results for those areas. Now, though this has wording on it, Google is probably interpreting these as pictures and not picking them up. Same thing with all the reviews. So just adding some content on the page and specifically wording it around the keywords would definitely have a pretty big impact as far as bringing this up in search results. How it would work here, if we look at the search results, I noticed that you guys are running Google ads. We got pay-per-click here as well as in the map section. This is great for generating instantaneous leads. The only problem is once the ad spend gets hit, then the ad disappears and along with it, your entire web presence. So trying to rank in these sections organically would be a great long-term solution, which would ultimately be cheaper. This section is based on your Google business profile, which is totally free to have. You can definitely optimize that to come up in these top three, making sure that all the information is filled out. You've got more reviews than these top three, so that's a big plus right there. Changing maybe your business description, you've got 750 characters you're allowed, putting some keywords in there helps. But then Google really rewards activity, so you want to make sure that you're posting to this profile on a regular basis, as well as adding photos. Photos, we go one step further and we actually embed them with a geotag. So we put a geolocation of the longitude and latitude on that picture because Google can't understand what the picture is, but it can read the data behind it that's embedded in it. So when you're trying to get pulled up in a local search results, if you have pictures that are embedded in that area, Google will understand your service area better. And then also getting listed in as many directories as possible, preferably more than anybody else in this list. So all that can add up to getting into this top three, which is pretty lucrative. However, underneath that, this is what we call the organic search results. So this is where the more authority or trust that Google has in your site, the higher up in the list that you're going to rank. So getting more of those links or referrals from other websites will help you climb and outrank the competition. So whereas this is location based, this is based on those keywords regardless of where they're searching from. So this is a little bit more lucrative because regardless of the number of clicks, as long as you have that keyword on the page and the page is ranked, you'll be coming up in these search results and it'll be basically working for you 24/7 as long as we've got the right keywords and the right content uploaded on the page. So I hope this information was helpful. It just shows you how you can quickly scale some of your online presence. But please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or if you want me to go into any further details. We could talk about some of the goals for the business and then I can do a little bit of research on my end to find out what it would take for you guys to reach those. But I always appreciate just getting feedback as well, just to find out if information like this was useful for you. So please let me know what you thought. Thanks, and I appreciate your time.